Oh, and a problem.
Oh my gosh!
That was a very hard impact there as they're heading up into the left. Okay.
Full course caution. Huge impact between the 99, the Daytona prototype, and the 62,
Mimo
the
Gidley
GTLM Ferrari. Mimo Gidley behind the wheel of the 99.
Great response from everybody here in terms of safety workers and flag marshals. Remember that Daytona does this better than anyone else. The debris field there, obviously we're looking into the sunset
right
with
into
the
the
cloud.
sun.
And we had just seen the 62 running off pace. You said looking into the sun, perhaps Mimo Gidley looking down or trying to look through the windscreen, just could not see.
Here is a look at what happened. First, Malucelli reported a loss of drive in his Risi Competizione Ferrari. He stopped by the side of the road, and then along came Mimo Gidley, who was unsighted, and whammo.
That was a tremendous impact, just scary to look at, and obviously tore the front end off the Red Dragon machine. Here we see another look at it. He's diving to the inside of that GT machine, obviously unaware that Malucelli was slow on the left-hand side of the racetrack. Just scary, scary.
Max Wearing, but he runs out of road, and Kevin Gilardoni does his switchback move again. Look in the background and gets up alongside Raul Gutzman. And alongside both of them, each Jonathan Cecotto with this carnage, because they all managed to meet in the middle, and a big, big impact. Jonathan Cecotto's car bounces off the barrier. It's going to be another safety car, might even be a stoppage, because that has done bad damage to the barrier. Cecotto's car bouncing into the air. Whether or not they have all managed to come to grief, I can't see, but 3 into 1 was never going to go. Cecotto was the man forcing the issue on one side. He had 3 wide. Nobody prepared to give the safety car back on track, but that was a big, big impact as they plunged downhill. You could see it coming, couldn't you, as they all went for the same piece of the road. So the safety...
From the first of the marshals to get there, and that's great stuff. The door is off its hinges, and it's the...
Out of the Honda.
Out of the Honda.
It's Marvin Kirchhofer behind the wheel. He was driving in the practice session earlier on.
So that's Renger van der Zande, I reckon.
I thought that was Renger's helmet with the very yellow. Kirchhofer out of the car, steps out of what is left of the car. We've got the suicide door.
Yeah.
We've got a suicide door, effectively.
Because it's still latched and the hinges have gone. So that's how
he's walking away.
Kirchhofer's got out. But testament to how strong these cars are. That's just absolutely phenomenal. So I kind of don't want to watch this next bit.
Take a deep breath, everybody. He's absolutely committed. He hits the wall, first of all, on the right-hand side, and that breaks the steering. And from that moment on, Kirchhofer is a passenger, gets airborne, and almost does roll over.
Went over.
I think that went over, Krillsy, yeah. I think that's gone over. It almost went over front over back, but then actually did roll laterally. It's quite a big hit on the right front at the metal grate.
That's what did the damage.
Yeah, he's got no steering.
Whether it broke anything or not there is probably irrelevant, because the car was massively unloaded at that point, and it's just fired it off the road. That contact at the metal grate, so it's backed in hard. It swung the car around. Look at the rear screen bouncing up into the power lines.
Yeah, wheels going all over the place.
Debris fencing doing its job, which is only a recent installation up there a couple of years ago. And then check this out. It'll ride the fence, Tony Hawk, skateboarding style.
Almost going over.
This is the point where it tips.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of motor racing at Mount Panorama, and I've never seen that there before. That is a ginormous impact. And once again, the driver walks away.
As they go past us down into the first corner, and a brilliant start by the 2 Kelly Moss Road race drivers who have stayed in their grid positions as they head up through the S's. Oh, that's going to be a big incident, and back into the middle of the field. That is the number 77 car that somehow did not get picked up by everyone else, and that will be a safety car. We will see that bright red machine again, and that is Travis Wiley in the Apex Capital Corporation car, the man from Austin, Texas. And he's moving. He's got the door open.
Travis Wiley gets out of that car under his own steam. Good to see Travis. He waves to the crowd there. He'll be sore from that, though. He certainly will be later on. That was a really nasty incident for Travis, but great to see he's okay. He's desperately disappointed, of course.
Well, let's see if we can unravel what happened. There was a bit of a push very early on by the number 11 car.
Got sideways going into the turn. As he corrected, I think he hit the back of Travis Wiley's car and turned it around.
Yeah, there was a roll right at the end of it as well that I hadn't realised. I think DeMarcos might have been getting a push from behind there.
Possibly.
As well. Race control will want to unravel all of that. To the Hobbs-coloured machine. Oh, huge off and over for the 82. This is the McCumbee-McAleer racing car. And this is going to be a safety car at the very least. Driver is moving around. That's Nate Cicero in that car. But an unabated spear off the circuit through turn 5 at the carousel and almost over the edge of the circuit, but came back down. That's a huge incident, but the driver compartment has stood up very well. Nate can't get out because the door is stuck on the tyres, but he's clearly able to move around in there.
Trying to climb out the window.
Yeah. The car is up partially on the tyres at the rear end. And Nate with enough room to stand out. Well, that's great to see as Nate exits the car through the window and holds his head. Now, was that his mistake or did he get a helping hand as he's over the top of the 3-layer metal barrier? Shrugs. Now, that was a huge incident. He's not happy, so he may have had some help coming down to turn number 7. Oh, he's lost it massively early, and that may have been a stuck throttle of some description. Something went on there. He was gaining speed when he should have been slowing down. Now, this is a 6-speed manual box, a stick shift, and you do have an auto blip, but quite a lot of the drivers like to heel and toe.
Big impact, big hit into the wall, and that is a destroyed Audi, which has absolutely taken the front off the car, and it's going to be a red flag. There is debris all over the road, and so that is going to stop the session after a huge off. Zhang Yachai's car it was. The red flag comes out.
Immediate red flag.
Yeah,
no
I can't imagine
that.
that's going to be restarted, that session.
No.
So the session stopped, and you can see why, and that's a hugely damaged car, and this was the impact. Not quite sure why it was on that line going into the corner, but look at the damage done to the barrier. Don't think there was contact, but at very high speed off the road it went, and has just absolutely decimated that car of Zhang Yachai. So session stopped.
Unless Venturini makes a big mistake, and I don't see him doing that, and Michael Mack hasn't either. Michael Mack accelerates out of the final corner, and for the 4th time in 2018 it is victory for Michael Mack and Alessandro Pierguidi for the Luzic Racing Ferrari team. That is a very well-timed victory heading in to the season finale at the Circuit de Catalunya, ahead of their rivals Andres Saravia and Fran Rueda in the Teo Martin BMW Giovanni Venturini sees off a determined attack from Loris Spinelli to deliver third place for the Imperiale Racing team. Venturini and her own Mull in their Lamborghini Huracan, and settling for fourth at the end. Loris Spinelli, fourth place for the Target Racing Lamborghini Huracan. Oh, and we've had a crash at the end of the race, and we've got a bit of fire at the back of one of the cars as well. Someone has managed to end up in the barriers at the very end of the race, and we've not seen what's happened there. And I couldn't ID which car it was either. It looks as though Alexander West has not crossed the finishing line at the end, but we'll wait to get an ID on the car before confirming who it was that's had that sizable shunt coming across the start-finish line at the end of the race. Here is an action replay of the end of the race. You can see the checkered flag waving, and very, very hard into what looks like the end of the pit lane, and absolutely enormous damage to the front of that car.
Con la BMW in seconda posizione e la Lamborghini
came together with the wall in the number 50 Mercedes. If we go back and have a look at the replay, if they do show us that, as we go on board now, he definitely touched the outside wall of Reservoir Bend. Doesn't look as though there's major damage to the car, but we'll keep you informed as to whether... Oh, no! Oh, mayhem! And there's millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage here at the mighty Macau. And that is one of the worst GT accidents I've ever seen here. And in the place, the city that is a gamble, the lottery has absolutely come to an end. Right at the front of here is the 911, and you can see his frustration. Cars everywhere. Lucas de Grassi not even on the ground.
Not on the tarmac.
And not able to get out. Did anybody make it through?
No hesitation in bringing out the red flag.
Yes, they did, look.
Course completely blocked. My goodness. My goodness.
What were you saying as we walked across the bridge?
Everything had been relatively clean so far today. I should not have
rest
said
my
it.
valise.
Goodness me. 4 cars come through.
Wow.
Into pit lane.
Now, we don't know... well, let's have a look at what happened, first of all.
We haven't seen what happened.
Augusta Farfus in third place goes through, and it's the police that they come together, and it's Juncadella who may well have been the cause, because Juncadella now backwards, and I think he had a damaged car anyway, but Juncadella is the car that's turned round. The Porsche of, is it? I'm trying to...
stop. And we should mention, as Sheena Monk has had a huge off. Is that at the corkscrew? I believe it is. We are yellow. We are in a full course caution, as that is one severely damaged Lamborghini. Looks like it went straight on at the corkscrew and is now sitting in the gravel trap. We'll let you know more information when we do, as the field has been neutralized, and she had no brakes going into the corkscrew. Holy cow, a huge accident where the car went massively airborne, straight up in the air, nosed into the tires. That, to me, Jeremy, looked like a braking issue and not any fault of Sheena's.
It really did look that way, didn't it? She went at unabated speed there. She did a good job to avoid those two cars that were directly ahead of her there, to not just slam into the back of one of those cars. Actually, she might have been better off actually doing that, because that would have slowed the car down somewhat. But hats off there to Sheena. And that was a very, very frightening incident. That car was a long, long way up in the air, and it came down again, fortunately on its wheels.
Yes.
But a frightening moment
and
for Sheena Monk.
The IMSA safety crew is with Sheena, so they are they have the driver's side door open and they are talking to her. I'm sure that she's a bit winded after that. That's quite the roller coaster ride that you never want to go on.
No, that's we've seen some nasty accidents there in the past. So gosh. But Laura Spinelli it is then who leads. Trent Hinman remains in second place and leading in the pro category. Eduardo Piscopo came in here as a championship leader in that car number 50. He's
maybe after this. Peter Aronson tries to get out of the way, but the leader is blocked. And there's contact, and that is Blomstedt. A huge moment off into the barriers. The race-leading car is destroyed. Marshall's run for comfort and safety, and also involved in that was Postiglione's car, I fear, that's up the escape road. And straight away, I think the officials are going to have a look at that, because that was Lucas Mauron going for a gap. They all got caught out in the traffic, and there was contact between Mauron and Blomstedt, and a red flag. The race is stopped. The race is stopped because it's taken barriers down. And there is obviously concern about the marshals that were behind that barrier and had to quickly try and scatter. So the race is stopped straight away. So the clock ticks for the moment. Safety car start and a red flag at round about 8 minutes to go. So it was a big, big hit. Frederick Blomstedt's car into the barriers. And they'll take some reparation work before we get any more activity on the track. But the immediate concern is the personnel, I would imagine. And so the race is...
In die erste Kurve. So, die Ampel ist eingeblendet. Auch hinten sieht das ganz gut aus. Und die Rennleitung gibt das Rennen frei. Und los geht's. Vollgas, der Lamborghini vorne. Das schwarze Auto. Und da gibt's gleich einen heftigen Unfall, der zum Abbruch führen wird. Mit einem mehrmaligen Überschlag. Das ist mal richtig in die Hose gegangen. Und das muss Rot geben. Um Gottes Willen, was für ein Unfall. Rot ist draußen. Jetzt müssen wir erstmal gucken, dass da alle okay sind. Riesencrash. Das sind Sandritter Klingmann, da ist ein Audi von Abt, der sich mehrmals überschlagen hat. Toni Seiler sehe ich aus dem Auto klettern, der da gestartet ist in der Corvette. Dann steht da das RWT-Auto von Calway. Aber wie sieht's in der 11 aus? Jetzt kommen da erste Hilfskräfte, die über die Boxenmauer wohl springen. Jetzt sind auch die DMSB-Staffeln da und ich glaube, der kommt raus. Müssen wir einfach jetzt abwarten, wie sich das entwickelt. Wir werden Ihnen in Patricks Analyse mal die ersten Bilder zuspielen. Achten Sie auf die Mitte des Bildes.
Der Mercedes, der HTP-Mercedes, der war eigentlich ausschlaggebend. Der hatte schon mal angezuckt und dann musste er zurücknehmen, die Corvette. Die 1er Corvette ist ausgewichen und dann ging das eigentlich los, diese Kettenreaktion. Das müssen wir auch jetzt nochmal uns in Ruhe anschauen. Aber der HTP-Mercedes von Maximilian Götz, der hat kurz gezuckt, musste dann, weil das Rennen nicht freigegeben war, nochmal zurücknehmen vom Gas und dann wichen quasi alle aus. Und wir sehen hier die Berührung zwischen dem Auto von Niki Thiem mit der 11 im Audi, trifft im Prinzip Daniel Keilwitz, dreht sich dann quer durchs Feld fliegend und dann gibt es einfach diese Kettenreaktion. Klingmann mit rausgerissen, Sven Barth mit entsprechend berührt und dann hier an der Mauer rechts der Audi die Rolle gedreht. Wow. Puh.
Also Kettenreaktion, keine Schuldfrage. Patrick, sehe ich das richtig? Muss man da sagen, unglückliche Umstände, Racing ist gefährlich.
Ja, lass uns erst noch mal da in Ruhe drauf schauen.
Ja.
Also wir sehen, wie der Audi von Niki Thiem, der hat ein bisschen den Weg nach links eingeschlagen, aber das war in der Perspektive vorher zu sehen. Wow, was Bilder, Wahnsinn. Puh. War zu sehen, dass einfach der Mercedes vorher nicht optimal